Welcome to the Abject Alphabet by that mad Phoenician, Victor Enns. We'll begin with the letter A. An abject alphabet. I am abject, that is mortal and speaking, said Julia Kristeva. The term abjection literally means the state of being cast off. Abandoned, they left me from infancy to infirmity. I speak alone again. Unworthy, abject, naturally. Abasement. For their gaze, for their touch, I will do anything. They love me not. My mouth is full of want, hard as it is to get my tongue around it. Adultery. First, you can't see anything. Then you can't look away. Finding half a worm in the apple she handed you. Angst. Ich habe, du hast, wir haben. Ich bin, du bist, wir sind. A line. A long drive. A longing. No place. Shaking all over. And sitting still. Ich will rein. Axe. My father's, the one I lost, left behind. A long scar on his knee in the Christmas tree forest. He was the kind of guy. He was the kind of guy who would third-person himself at the drop of a hat, as long as it wasn't a royal crown. He was the kind of guy who would verb third person himself and verb. He was the kind of guy who understood he became more of an existentialist every day he came closer to ceasing to exist. He was the kind of guy who would send the Canada Medical Assistance in Dying survey to his friends. He was the kind of guy who lived and examined life and was pretty sure he was flunking. First train, Boundary Creek Station. I was assembling my apparatus, intent on taking a photograph of the first train arriving here at the platform. My initial opportunity destroyed when a harnessed brown gelding shied at the noise, the smoke, and the steam, the iron wheels grinding the rails. Ground shaking under me, I hung on to my camera. The terrified gelding broke his forelegs, soon dragged away for dog meat, while I reassembled my equipment, turning my eye back to the train. Woke up this morning with invisible blues. You can't see them, but they wait for me. Every morning I know the invisible blues keep me company. Invisible blues, my eternity. Invisible blues slip on like my running shoes every morning. Woman, you could tie and untie my laces in all the best places, relax my braces, take off my clothes, but instead of you, all's I got is pain and the invisible blues. Invisible blues, they hang on tight like COVID-19 and the COVID-19 news. Invisible blues, they hang on tight like COVID-19 and the COVID-19 news. Pieces of my mind. being an essay on the verities of my brain function, from cradle to grave, and a companion to my body in parts. I'm different. Different than what exactly is hard to define specifically. But generally, I am different from most regular people. Now, granted, we are all different, even twins. Still, there is a range of behavior accepted as normal out in the world. First contact. My mother left me in a large brown baby buggy with the big wheels and no brakes. The weather was fine and I was sleeping, so she filled a pail of water from the kitchen pump and hurried out to wash her new Studebaker. Father was in the garden. Sometime later, likely 5 or 10 minutes, I woke. I tried to pull myself up and started shaking the pram. The pram was left in front of the door to the basement, which was left open. I was rocking this pram, and it rolled towards the basement door, likely a few inches, and then, gathering speed, began its descent. It didn't get far. My pram wheels caught on the first 2 stairs, pitching me forward and with gravity's assistance to the bottom of the stairs, which ended a step short of a brick and mortar wall. My mother always hated the old house because none of the floors were straight, and cited this as a likely factor in the prams rolling to the stairs. Following my launch, my face from my forehead to my mouth was in hard contact with the brick wall. I have no first-hand memory of this, some indication I was not yet 3, and I was never in a pram after 18 months walking. The confirmation comes from my sister. I remember this very clearly. Mother had sent me to the co-op to get something and said to take you in the pram for an airing. Wasn't long before I was on Main Street and a group of boys looked in the pram and began to tease me about your face and how it could be so black and blue. While this comment had been tolerated by my mother from her loudest older brother, my sister did not take kindly to this taunting. She said, "I stepped forward and punched the biggest one of them hard in the face. I didn't break his nose, but it was bleeding, and soon he had a shiner to explain. Hard to admit he had been bested by a girl. As far as I can remember, it's the only time I've ever punched anybody." My sister was barely 11 and rarely bothered again. It's likely that a baby's 6-month-old brain has more resilience than mine has today, or so my mother must have thought. There was no trip to the doctor or a check for concussion. My flight into our basement brick wall was one of the earliest stories told to me to remember from my infancy. And in the original telling, my mother did say I was 6 months old. It was also when I started living under the protection of my sister. On Saturday, March 3rd, 2018, at 4:13 p.m., Victor Enns wrote, "What looks like a good day. I am bitchy with cold. Do you have access to an old-fashioned label maker where the black strip is fed through a circle of type and you click on a letter and it pinches up a white letter? I want very much to put pain room on my door, sooner rather than later." On March 3rd, 2018, at 7:13 p.m., Murray Taves wrote, "We may have an old label maker at work, but I don't have my own. I'll take a look for you on Monday when I get back to work." On Saturday, March 3rd, Victor Enns wrote, "I thought you might find something at work, and thanks for looking." March 3rd, Murray Taves replies, "There is a room of sad and forgotten technologies above the door. All give up hope who enter here." On Saturday, March 3rd, 2018, at 7:18 p.m., Victor Enns wrote, Hey Murray, I'm listening to Purcell's Dido and Aeneas, a great piece of music set to an old story by Virgil. My reading style now is more fragmented, scented like my writing. Books broke, spavined, hurled all about like so much shrapnel. So I just pick something up, read for a few minutes, and then move on. Hopefully back here to the keyboard. Murray responds, "Yes, I'll have a look. Alas, I will have no Virgil to accompany me into the techno-purgatorium."